introduce John as our first speaker. He's been with our club a fairly short time, but me personally, I've been very impressed with his speaking abilities. He always has a well-structured speech, and it's very interesting to listen to. Please join me in welcoming John. John, come up.
The nerds have won. The type of behavior that would have earned you a massive wedgie when I was young is now universally embraced, from the captain of the football team to the captain of the chess club. But it wasn't always this way. Like most social change, we are where we are today thanks to great courage and sacrifice from an earlier generation. Today, I'm going to walk you through the journey that nerds from my generation took, from the early struggles to gaining acceptance to ultimate triumph. And I am personally very highly qualified to speak on this topic because I was a nerd before being a nerd was cool. Let's start with the early years. Pop culture has a larger than life effect on people, especially young, formative minds. When I was young, the box office was dominated by action heroes. They were real alpha male prototypes. You know the ones, the Schwarzeneggers, Stallones, Van Dammes, just to name a few. These were the role models. Nerds and geeks, on the other hand, were portrayed as helpless losers that nobody wanted to associate themselves with. Come on in.
3, 4, 5.
Great. Welcome, everybody. As an adolescent growing up in rural North Dakota in the 80s and the 90s, I quickly learned that there was an unwritten list of acceptable interests that every young male should be into, if they wanted to feel normal and fit in. And this included anything with a loud motor, hunting, sports, grunge music, those types of things. Looked like it'd be a solitary life journey for types like me. I remember feeling somewhat ashamed that my list was very different. My list included computers, science fiction, video games. But out of fear of being labeled a nerd and becoming a social outcast, I kept my interest mostly private. Remember, I was a nerd before being a nerd was cool. So as I got older, I stuck with my passion and I declared computer science as my major in college. I quickly learned while coding late into the night at the computer lab that there were other nerds like me. I started to feel more emboldened. Things got better. And with many great struggles, there's that one moment, right, that's a game changer that really turns the tides. Kind of like when Spider-Man discovers his powers or Luke blows up the Death Star. And for us nerds, that moment was the advent of broadband internet and cell phone. All of a sudden, computers and high tech, which played a somewhat niche role in people's lives, became must-haves, even became cool. And who had mastery over this domain? We did, the nerds did, right? We were the ones who could build a web page or configure a network or set up file sharing systems to trade MP3 files. This set off a chain of events that over time, they seemed subtle but continued to make the geek more chic. And we saw it in our pop culture too. The rise of the beta male, highly popularized by late 90s movies and sitcoms. The best example, some of you might remember NBC's sitcom Friends. Nerds went from being portrayed as helpless dorks to someone that everyone wanted to hang out with, like Joey, Chandler, and Ross. And video games. They went from mere kids' hobbies to Guitar Hero parties and frat houses and bars. And this is a stark contrast from my early years when I was truly embarrassed to admit that one of my favorite hobbies was, and still is to this day, video games. Now here we are today. Being a nerd is now cool. I recently watched a press conference on Inside the NBA and was not shocked to see none other than King James himself, LeBron, recent Laker, wearing nerd glasses as a fashion accessory, nearly identical to those worn by Bill Gates. And nerd and geek culture, it's moved beyond being a male thing. It's embraced by females now. I just saw a recent poll conducted by Psychology Today, and it found that 70% of women would now date a nerd. And I think that number might be a little low myself. But after all of this, if I still haven't convinced you that the nerds have won, look no further than Wall Street. I'm sure somebody here could tell me what the most valuable company is in the world today with a market cap of over $1 trillion.
Amazon.com.
That is wrong. That is right. I'm glad someone in here knew it. It's Apple. Founded by legendary nerd Steve Jobs. Close up, partial credit. Yes, there were dark times when my people were oppressed. But thanks to the courage and the sacrifice of great pioneers, including yours truly, we've broken through the barriers of culture and society to create equal opportunities, whether you like Captain James T. Kirk or Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Oh, there is one Star Trek fan here. Thank you for standing on that mic. So that's why I'm calling on all nerds to come out of hiding and own it, because it's awesome. Nerds, take your place alongside other trailblazers in our history. Lincoln may have freed the slaves, but my people, we freed the nerds. Live long. Thank you.